we go. A.J. Desai with the ball in hand. Kyle Filipowski and Efton Reed jump center. And away we go. Deacs in the gold on their home court. Boopy Miller is the redshirt sophomore point guard, the Central Michigan transfer for head coach Steve Forbes. Efton Reed couldn't catch off the pick and roll and an early late turnover.
Yeah, turnovers are big. You know, the run-out ones are the ones I think Steve Forbes is most concerned about. But first possession of the game, you can't even make a pass. That's a tough start.
Two elite offensive teams. And here is Duke going to work.
Mark Mitchell, he has been hot the last dozen games. The 6'9" sophomore backing down Andrew Carr, and Cam Hildreth the rebound.
And that was the story of the first matchup, Mike. It was Mark Mitchell and Kyle Filipowski, 44-19 combined. A lot of that having to do with the foul trouble that Efton Reed and Andrew Carr were in that game.
Efton Reed working against Filipowski, was calling for it. Here is Carr, fourth-year player, second year at Wake. Tough shot, won't go. Jeremy Roach, the steady senior, and move for McCain. 40% from deep, 13.5 points per game, but cleared by Sallis. Sallis, the number 4 scorer in the ACC for a Wake offense that is loaded. These are the top 2 offenses in the ACC in shooting percentage. Sallis, tough shot.
That's obviously the key matchup here today. He's one of the 5 best players in the ACC. Hunter Sallis, first team All-ACC, in my opinion, and he can make tough shots.
Gonzaga transfer, originally from Omaha, having a great season here in Winston. Roach down the lane, lays it in, and Duke's on the board 2 minutes in. Boopy Miller initiates the offense for Wake Forest, coming off the demolition of Pitt on Tuesday. All right, Doug, thanks very much, and welcome to one of the best atmospheres you will see all weekend in college basketball. The sold-out Joel in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for Duke, ranked 8th in the country against Wake Forest. With Chris Spatola, Mike Monaco with you. A Duke team, you just saw the starting lineup, led by Kyle Filipowski and Jeremy Roach, tied at the top of the ACC at 12-3. A Wake team 4th in the league and leading 4-2 in the first 3 minutes and in search of the NCAA tournament. A bucket from Filipowski, the top scorer for Duke, Chris.
Well, that's the big matchup there. Efton Reed on Filipowski. Reed he ended up fouling out of that first matchup. It really allowed, he and Andrew Carr fouled out, allowed Mark Mitchell and Filipowski to really have a field day at the rim.
Reed the lob, and it rolls down from his point guard, Boopy Miller.
But it's not just Reed's defense, you know, his ability to clog up that paint defensively. He gives you that vertical threat at the rim. They love throwing it up to him out of that pick and roll.
Filipowski swirls out a 3. This atmosphere, if you're just joining us, has been bananas in the lead up to this. There's Boopy Miller, the Central Michigan transfer, with post entry to Reed, who had a mismatch, skipped it for Andrew Carr, who couldn't connect from deep.
You know, Duke, because they switch a lot, can get into some funky matchups at times.
As Caleb Foster threw it away, picked off by Carr. 2 excellent offenses, 2 of the very best in all the ACC. Reed feeling good about his shot. He's only knocked down 9 career threes in 3 seasons.
You know, in an environment like this as a player, the first thing you got to keep telling yourself is to stay in character. Don't take shots that are out of character for you. Take a deep breath.
With this crowd activated, Hunter Sallis drew a foul that is on the floor against Jeremy Roach. Well, we are just getting started, and you know,
Unbelievable, and you love the turnout to support a team that needs this game. If they win this game, there is no question they are in the NCAA tournament to stay.
Right on that fringe. We'll have more coming up from Joe Lenardi in a couple of moments. Efton Reed tried to rip down an offensive rebound, and it does stay with the Demon Deacons.
So Lunardi says that they're the first team out, not just in the first 4 out, first team out. A win today, you say they're absolutely in.
Well, we live in a world where the analysis is strictly analytical for the NCAA tournament. I still think Wake Forest's resume is good enough today, and they are certainly good enough as a basketball team as they're playing right now to be in. But again, if they win this game here today, they are in, and I think in to stay.
Parker Fredrickson got fouled on a jump shot, and it's number 2 on Jeremy Roach, the steady senior guard for number 8 Duke. And Duke, meanwhile, you saw pegged as a 3 seed right now for Joe Lunardi. 12-3 in the ACC, 21-5 overall, and on a 5-game winning streak. But they're going to exit Jeremy Roach from this game, and talking about foul trouble in the first meeting on the Wake Forest side last Monday, Roach is out. Tyrese Proctor still coming off the bench for Duke in his second game back from a concussion suffered in that game against the Demon Deacons. So he controls things with McCain, Filipowski, Foster, and Ryan Young, the veteran, big off the bench as well. Here he is, 15 in blue, wrapping it around to Kyle Filipowski. Proctor kicks for Foster, knocks it down.
And that's the problem when you play Duke. If you're going to be aggressive in the ball screen to start the possession, it then puts you in scramble. You had a 2-on-1 as Reed recovered nicely, but then that ball starts spraying around, and Duke has a lot of shooters.
They're the best three-point shooting team in the ACC and top 15 in the country. Hunter Sallis on a baseline drive. If you don't know his name, what's most important about him?
He does a lot. He can really score. He can shoot a 3 with range. He puts it on the floor. He plays a lot longer than his 6'5" frame. And you love on a game like this, Mike, when your best player, which has to be your best player, gets off to a great start.
Tyrese Proctor sticks a triple to answer Sallis's bucket, and it's Duke by 1, 6 minutes in. And Sallis is exactly that for Wake Forest. Junior Gonzaga transfer originally from Omaha, and the number 4 scorer in the ACC. Fredrickson's a shooter, and Ryan Young bumps Efton Reed. Year 2 for John Shire, 36 years young. They've won 16 of 18. They blasted Miami on Wednesday. Where's Duke at right now?
They're playing their best basketball, and I think it says a lot about the job that John has done. You know, this team has improved steadily as the year has gone on. They've had some continuity issues, and Tyrese Proctor in and out of that lineup. But these freshmen are starting to play like sophomores.
Fredrickson misses from deep.
And this team's gotten better defensively, this Duke team.
Here's the freshman, McCain, at 13.5 points per game. Lost the handle. Young went diving for it, and a held ball keeps it at this end of the floor.
It was interesting. Both of these coaches said that we have to make the other play in the half court. They are both so good in transition. They have a really fast advance. They space shooters, so part of it's getting back, stopping the ball, building that wall, and then matching up with shooters. But both coaches, transition defense was huge today.
Something John Shire said to his pregame that he was stressing all week with his group. These are both top 4 defenses per KenPom in the ACC. There's Filipowski. His team has been under control recently. Got it back from Proctor. Battling with Matt Marsh. A kick for Foster. Wanted a second triple. And here is transition for Wake. Sallis without numbers. The hesitation was probing and stepped out on the baseline, and a Wake Forest turnover.
That's where Hunter Sallis, Cam Hildreth, and Boopy Miller look out to me. Those guys, all of them can rip it, they can run, they all push, and they are looking to score. I mean, that is their first option. They are so dynamic downhill, especially that guy.
Went for 20-plus in the first meeting. Filipowski to the bench, and sniper Damari Monsanto into the game for Wake Forest. 30 in goal. Here's McCain, 40% from 3, and he sticks one. Coming off 8 threes last weekend against Florida State when he matched Zion's freshman Duke scoring record with 35.
He is always on balance. It's one of the reasons he is shooting such a high percentage, be it off the dribble or off the catch. He's got a really strong lower body, and he's always on balance.
He's matched up with Cam Hildreth, who lost it, and it belongs to Duke.
And that movement there from Tyrese Proctor off the ball sort of occupies, and then, you know, you're too late. Jared McCain, like you said, he's on such a heater. I mean, that game against Florida State had unconscious vibes to it.
It's an illegal screen set by Ryan Young.
You know, it's interesting, when Wake Forest comes with Damari Monsanto and Parker Fredrickson off of their bench, they become a much better shooting team than they are with their starting lineup. Those two guys, that's what they want. They want three, and it actually helps their spacing offensively.
They're both on the floor right now, and John Shire told us just a little while ago, it's like Wake Forest has three different teams. A lob to Marsh, and nearly another turnover. Does stay with the Deacs with 12:20 to go in the half. You've seen the defense get better for Duke the last few weeks. Hildreth from the corner to key it in. And here is Monsanto. You got to know where he is and knock it down. 41% from three last year. 10th game back this year from a knee injury.
And he has not shot well in their last 4 games. Only 3 of 19.
Young trying to follow it up, and he coaxes a foul. That goes against Monsanto. Well, Monsanto is a guy who can shoot it so well. And Wake is a team who in this building, where, mind you, they're 14-0 this season, they shoot it much differently than they do away from here.
And it's interesting because most teams play better, shoot better at home. The thing with Wake is it's much better.
Yeah.
Like, it is a stark difference. We asked Steve Forbes about it yesterday at practice, and in a typical Steve Forbes way, I can't explain it. I'm not smart enough to be able to explain it.
He is nothing if not affable.
He's one of the best. He is one of the best people in the coaching fraternity. He is the American dream. He is proof that you can work your way up, you can pay your dues. He's been an assistant coach, a junior college coach, came here from East Tennessee, and he does it all with a smile. He's as likable a personality as there is. He's just a good guy.
He's the pride of small town Lone Tree, Iowa. 2 years ago, the ACC Coach of the Year. It's an 8-0 Duke run. Boopy Miller out the shot big, dishes to Matt Marsh.
Really good breakdown of the defense, and good to get Matthew Marsh a dunk. He played his best game in a while in that game against Pitt the other day. He needs to give them something.
Starter last year, out of the lineup and the rotation for a lot of this year. McCain probing, offensive rebound, Young. And he moved it, but the shot clock might not have reset. That appears to be the issue here. So we will take a timeout and get that 10-2 when we come back.
Gotta love the penetration here from Boopy Miller. A little boop boop around the rim. Matthew Marsh, get him a dunk. The big fella, beat him.
Jim Boeheim got honored today at the Dome, and Syracuse made good on that, withstanding Notre Dame coming back. The Pack celebrating the title team from '74, and a big game that follows this one right here on ESPN. Carolina at Virginia, 2 of the top 3 teams in the ACC.
Yeah, Virginia's another one of those teams, and again, if I can slay the analytics game, the net for a moment here, like, this is another one of those teams that has gotten significantly better now than they were early, and there is so much emphasis now. There's this outsized importance on what you do in November and December, and if those are non-conference games. And Virginia, you know, obviously struggled early in the year. They are a much better team. They are a tournament team if you just watch that team play.
Wake Forest just saw him last Saturday and lost by 2. Strong take from Tyrese Proctor at his second bucket, the sophomore from Australia.
Guys coming off their bench. You know, John Shire has said all year they have 6 starters, and it's kind of switched around. Of course, Proctor did not play in that Florida State game, coming off the concussion, coming off the bench again today.
Well, answers right back for the Deacs.
That's the challenge for Duke, is guarding the ball with Boopie Miller and Cam Hildreth. Those guys want the paint. They are not shooting a high volume of threes. You have got to be able to guard your yard, keep both those guys in front.
Couple downhill drivers for Wake Forest. Duke's hit 3 triples. Wake Forest doesn't have any. And Filipowski goes to the cup with the left hand.
That's the versatility and the pressure that he puts on Efton Reed. You know, Efton Reed trying to play this game physically but without fouling. This is a lot to ask when Filipowski puts it on his hand, puts it on the floor with that left hand especially.
And Reed, the 7-footer. Miller for 3, proving us wrong. 34% from deep. His first triple and the first for Wake Forest. Duke by 3. Filipowski flash to the block. Goes up for 2 more.
And that's where I'd love to see Filipowski more, is inside. Because he's going to draw a double. I think John Shire's looking, you know, they ran a set there, looking to get him a little bit more, catching it on the block. Sometimes he can get himself into trouble doing too much on the perimeter.
Reed kicks it out for Sallis. Knocks it down.
Got to stay attached to him. That's too much space for a guy who has played that well this season.
He's got 9 of the 19. Filipowski stepping out this time. No dice. Wake with it, down 2. Boopie Miller's been calling for it. Wants a deep one. Hits! So he can drive you and also knock down a couple threes.
Well, he hasn't shot it well in their last 8. He's only 4 of 19. Again, 19's not a lot of attempts in 8 games. He has come out aggressive today.
Caleb Foster with a response for Duke. John Shire talked in this pregame about the steadiness that Foster brings. You mentioned Proctor again coming off the bench. Second game back from the concussion. And Foster has been steady. Miller with a heat check for Wake. Here's McCain driving on Fredrickson. Bottled up. Found Mitchell for the stop. Mark Mitchell arrives on the scene with his first points.
Call that a bailout cut, because that was well defended. The initial thrust from McCain was well defended. Parker Fredrickson, you just give him a little bit of an angle as Efton Reed leaves the picture. And a great cut along the baseline by Mark Mitchell. Now, Mitchell's a guy, did not get off to a great start this year. But he got to Duke by being a certain player. You know, the player he's playing like now, activity, versatility, aggressive. It was almost like somebody got to him before the season and convinced him he had to play a certain way to be a pro, shoot a perimeter shot, and I think it paralyzed him. But he's back to being who he is. It's been so good.
15 and 8 for him over the last dozen. They're 11 and 1 in that time. He kicked it out for a spinning McCain. Shot clock winding down on the freshman. Moves it for Foster. Got to get it up, and he doesn't. It's a shot clock violation. Well, how good is this team? And the game to match. 3-point spread.
Let's give you a little taste of Boopie. Going to break here. A little Boopie Miller. Kevin Boopie Miller is wet from deep.
Of course, it started to heat up shooting it from deep.
I thought Boopie had hit a bit of a wall, but got back to himself in that pick game. You have to remember, it's really only his second year of college. I mean, he only played 4 games last year. The year before that, he's at Central Michigan, so he has transferred up. It's been an adjustment, but what a start here for him.
And last year, a fractured bone in his foot. Efton Reed draws a foul on Kyle Filipowski. It's his first, as Duke has Roach and Young on the bench with 2 apiece.
It's going to be a battle down low. It was the first matchup, and, you know, I think Duke coming in wanted to make it a little bit difficult, harder for those post guys, be it Reed or Carr, to catch it on the post. They wanted to front Reed the deeper he got.
And again, Reed fouled out in just 15 minutes in the first meeting early last week between these teams. He got it down low, got a steal on Mitchell.
Playing in the post is about where you catch it and the angle you have. You cannot get much deeper than that. It was a really nice big-to-big pass from Carr, even though the spacing wasn't great, leading him into that shot.
He comes out on the Proctor ball screen, and now Mitchell tried to rip down the rim and posterize Andrew Carr, who gets saddled with a foul.
Really nice pass here, and a good job carving his angle. And look at that position, 2 feet in the paint right in front of the rim. And then this is Mark Mitchell. I mean, this is the Mark Mitchell we did not see early in the year. He was on his heels. He is much more leaning forward, much more back to being the aggressive attacker that got him to Duke.
You said it earlier, first meeting, he and Filipowski were huge. John Shire said they were men. Mitchell had 23 to match a career high in that one. And again, the last dozen games for him, he's been outstanding, and Duke's record reflects that.
I think a big part of them playing their best basketball is him and how he's playing. He's an X factor, and then the ascendance of Jared McCain. Those two guys playing the way they're playing has lifted Duke.
McCain getting a breather right now, and Jeremy Roach is back out there with his 2 first-half fouls. And he's got the assignment on Sallis. Miller, Reed has Mitchell on him again, and Roach tipped it away. Sallis recovers, shot clock inside of 10. Sallis met by Filipowski. Miller a baseline drive, a kick for Carr. Can't stick it. Proctor goes spinning. Here's Mitchell attacking again. And offensive foul on Mark Mitchell. His first personal.
What a job by Andrew Carr anticipating this. Again, a big part of this game for both teams is getting back, setting your defense, forcing the other to play in a half court. Nice job sliding over outside that restricted area, and he is absolutely there in time. Really nice defensive play.
You mentioned defensive transition. How would you assess it on both sides so far?
It's been good. Yeah, both teams have forced the other to play in a half court. You know, neither's a good shot blocking team. Rim protection for both has not been great. So there's been a lot at the rim so far.
Sallis created a little bit of space and got it to go. He's got a game-high 11. And he is begging these fans to rise to their feet. Locked at 26. Filipowski, excellent passer. Moved it for Jalen Blakes. Shot clock at 8. Filipowski on Reed. Kicks for Blakes. Too strong.
Your Wake's got to protect their basket. It's got to be gang protection, you know, and a nice job walling up by Reed. You get help collapsing, and you force a pass out to the guy you want shooting it. You'll live with Jalen Blakes taking that shot if you're Steve Forbes.
Filipowski switched on to Miller. But rolled out, and Efton Reed is as good as anyone at that tip out.
It's amazing how many offensive boards he creates by that bat out.
Carr couldn't catch the feed from Sallis. Filipowski calling for it. And that sets the screen for Proctor. So good in the pick and roll. Filipowski moves it. Extra pass. Now Roach attacks. Proctor. Offensive rebound, Roach. Filipowski. And that one goes down for Filipowski, and he's got 8.
Duke has been a much better offensive rebounding team in conference play than they were early in the year, and a big part of that is their guards getting in there. Jared McCain has been maniacal on the glass. Good job by Jeremy Roach sneaking in there.
Miller fouled by Mitchell, and that's 2 on Mark Mitchell as well.
Nice job. You know, Boopy Miller and Cam Hildreth are so good at shot faking when they get into that paint. They both play off of 2 feet, and it was one of the things that John Shire was talking to his guards about. The play with those 2 guys starts when they pick up the ball in the lane. You have got to keep your feet. In that case, nice job shot faking the Mark Mitchell as he came over.
Tomorrow, Elizabeth Kinley and number 8 Virginia Tech host North Carolina at 2 Eastern over on ACC Network. And the College Game Day crew tips off our coverage from Blacksburg at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Program record 5th sellout of the season for head coach Kenny Brooks.
We're talking about how good a guy Steve Forbes is early in the game. There's nobody better than Kenny Brooks either, man. Oh, that guy, I love me some Kenny Brooks.
Cut from the same cloth as Steve Forbes. 28 all, just outside of 4 to go in this first half. It has lived up to it. Chris Patoli, Mike Monaco, our entire crew with you. Foster from the corner, knocks down a 3.
Again, that's the danger, Mike. If you're going to send 2 to the ball, and they had a nice trap on the ball handler, but that's when Duke, I mean, they space so well, and they've got multiple shooters.
38% from 3 this year. Knocked down 13 last time out. Wednesday in the demolition of Miami in Coral Gables. He got a seal with a mismatch. Moved it back out for Miller. Shot fake on Sean Stewart. Carr struggled with a shot from deep recently. Slips it back for Filipowski. Foster wants another. And a rebound on the weak side from Cam Hildreth. Hildreth, who is playing through a wrist injury. Looked like that might be on Miller. Instead, they're going to tag Tyrese Proctor with it after some contact on both sides. First on Proctor. 3-point Duke lead on the road.
Caleb Foster doesn't hunt his shot a lot, but he's been open because of this ball screen coverage from Wake. It's his 2nd of the game. It's a good question, man. You know, I think in this league, it's life on the road for Duke and North Carolina, man. And these guys are comfortable playing in these environments. They expect it. And the thing for, you know, when you're in the tournament already, like, win or lose this game today, you are better for being in this game for both teams, but certainly, you know, there's more on the line tournament-wise for Wade. Just kind of how it is, man. This environment, this is old school Wake Forest. I mean, this is vintage Wake Forest basketball, this arena.
An attendance record at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. It's a mouthful, by the way. Nearly 15,000 here. Again, first sellout here since 7 years ago. And a team in Wake that is perfect at home, trying to rubber stamp, like Dallin said, an NCAA tournament resume against a Duke team tied for first with Carolina in the ACC. And on an ACC best right now, 5-game winning streak. Filipowski is double. How about passing out of the post to Proctor?
That's why I love him on the block. Because passing is the best thing that Filipowski does, and he draws a double. And when you have that shooting around him, you're going to get open looks. Nice job out of a timeout.
Same thing Coach Greenberg said as well. He likes it inside out, the method for Filipowski.
Sallis, oh yeah! He's having a hat.
And he thought he got fouled, and it looked like it. What a shot.
He's got 14 on 6 of 6 shooting. The Wake Forest star announcing himself on the big stage. There's Filipowski on the block, and he gets fouled by Efton Reed, his first.
Threes back and forth. There's that double in that mid-post. Really nice skip pass over the top. And here's Hunter Sallis. And I am always in the camp of protecting the shooter. When the defender, whether he hit his hand or not, he lands in Sallis' space. And to me, I think that's a foul. What a year Hunter Sallis has had. You know, a game like this, I said it earlier, like you need your best players to be your best players. You need them to show up. And he has shown up in this first half. What a talent.
McDonald's All-American a couple of years ago coming out of Omaha. Went to Gonzaga and didn't break through there for Mark Few and his team. Comes here to Wake, and he's been outstanding. Like a lot of transfers have been the last 4 years for Steve Forbes.
Steve Forbes was saying yesterday, the first thing I said to him when I went and visited him in Spokane was, I want you to start having fun playing basketball again.
He's doing that. The confidence is back for the former prep star. Here's Reed banging with Young. He picks up a foul. And that is 3 on Ryan Young.
That's big because Mitchell's got the 2. And a nice job by Efton Reed. I mean, he looked at the matchup, saw that Young was on him with the 2 fouls and went right at him.
So Young to the bench at the 2:04 mark. 1-1 for Efton Reed. 90% this year at the free throw line. What a difference he has made for Wake Forest. 2-time transfer when LSU, then Gonzaga. So he was out the first 7 games of the year until he got the waiver situation squared away in early December, and he has really helped out their defense.
He's actually shot it well from the foul line on the year. That was a big miss.
Inside of 2 to go in this first half. It's Duke by 4 on the road. Foster's being hounded by Boopie Miller. Proctor, 7 to shoot. Matched up with Hildreth. Off the bounce. Behind the back. Tough foul away. Doesn't go. Sallis, Carr, Reed, Hildreth, and Miller. Steve Forbes starting lineup. Hildreth off the shot fake. He's got that wrist injury he's been dealing with. That doesn't go. Carr, stick back. First points for Andrew Carr, who averages 13. And John Shire takes the timeout.
Good drive off the skip pass by Cam Hildreth. Again, you got to close out short on him because he wants the paint. There's that shot, and then Andrew Carr says, give me that. Snatch.
4 years under Steve Forbes.
You can hear the parents paying tuition for Wake Forest saying, you slept where now? On a sidewalk?
And at a school that helped birth Arnold Palmer, might be more John Daly today. Here's Proctor, got a good look, hiding behind the screen. Rebound underneath, and nearly a follow from Jared McCain on the offensive glass.
Jared McCain, what he's done on the glass for Duke is unbelievable. You know, his effort is unquestioned. He is constantly in the moment. Like, I define it a competitor. We throw that word around a lot. A competitor is somebody who's always on to the next moment. What can I do on the next play to impact winning? That's who Jared McCain is. It's a guy who was talking to John Shire about him. He said, you can coach him hard without hurting his feelings or his confidence, which is becoming more rare these days.
Yeah. And look at the routine when it comes to breath as well. This is part of it for Jared McCain. Visualization, breathing, and yoga. John Shire was telling us pregame he got all his teammates to get involved with some yoga last night, and he wakes up at the same time every single morning. I can't say the same. Duke by 4, 45 seconds to go in this first half at the Joel and Winston-Salem. Ricky Miller off the Efton Reed screen. He's had a good first half, along with Hunter Sallis. They've combined for 25. Sallis with his first miss, and about a half second separating game and shot clocks for the Blue Devils up by 4. Filipowski jockeying with Reed, who's got just the 1 foul in this half. Filipowski, a 3, wide left and an air ball. And Wake's going to have 5 seconds to work with you. Not sure that's the shot John Shire wanted.
Well, Wake has forced Duke to play late into a lot of these shot clocks on these possessions. Wake's half-court defense, despite Duke shooting 48%, has been pretty solid.
5 seconds for Boopie Miller, the speedy guard for Hildreth, and he gets fouled by Jalen Blakes. So that's 10 on Duke, and so it's 2 free throws for Cam Hildreth inside the final second of the half.
You know, it's tough as a play. It's a foul, clearly. It's tough as a player. That ball is just sitting out there, so delicious. You think you can get a call on it, and just late, and you commit a bad foul going into halftime.
I mean, you understand it for Blake's. It's why he's in the game for defensive purposes, but costly. And it plants Cam Hildreth at the line at 80%. And he's got his first point. And again, the significance for Wake Forest. Joe Lunardi says first team out of the field. And he said earlier today that should they win, it puts him in the field. And he said perhaps to stay. It would be the best win of the season for the Demon Deacons. And they cut it to 2. Foster got it off. And we head to halftime in Winston-Salem with Duke on top of Wake Forest by 2. And for John Shire, this is the significance. Second half, Chris Patola, Mike Monaco with you, and this has not disappointed. The entirety of the first half, a 2-possession game, and lived up to it.
Yeah, you know, those two guys we just showed. I mean, Hunter Sallis was the best player on the floor in that first half. He's got a target on his back. Scouting report-wise, it's his efficiency. 6 of 7, 2 threes. He was good. Filipowski, when he puts his head out inside, I'm going to go inside and muscle this thing. He was really effective. I think he bails the defense out when he settles for those threes, and I thought he had some settles in that first half, but he was still obviously very good.
Duke had a lead as large as 6. Biggest one we saw in that first half. And then they went a little bit cold offensively those last 3 minutes of the first half. And the foul set up a couple of free throws. They made it a 2-point game at the break. And here we go. Second half in Winston-Salem. Second of 6 straight men's hoops games here on ESPN with 4 top 10 teams in action in those, including Duke. Here's Andrew Carr. 1 of 6 shooting for him in that first half. Matched up with Mark Mitchell. He had a couple of first half fouls. Carr goes pivoting for 2.
Well, you love Steve Forbes out of the locker room going right at Mark Mitchell. He's got the 2 fouls, like you said, Mike. We're going to post Carr up and force Mitchell to have to defend.
First meeting between these teams last Monday was a big second half for Duke. Wake's defense, Steve Forbes said, wasn't good enough. Looking for better today. Jeremy Roach in foul trouble himself with 2. Only had 2 points that first half.
He's got such a good hesitation on that open side ball screen. And, of course, you're playing it with 2-man game with Filipowski, who can pick and pop. Just a tough thing to defend.
What a senior season it has been for Jeremy Roach. Career year. And he has shot it at 46% from 3. Steve Forbes attacks Mitchell again. Double came on Carr and Sallis. Third 3, and he's got 17.
It's inexcusable if you're Duke. You cannot leave him. Outside of the fact that he was on fire in the first half, he's one of the league's best players. You cannot leave Hunter Sallis.
Filipowski is on the block. Banging with Efton Reed, and a foul. It's called on the floor. And it's an early one. And a second on Reed.
You've got to stay attached in the half court. You can't be ball watching. I mean, Jeremy Roach, there's got to be an awareness on Hunter Sallis. You cannot leave him to help. You cannot leave him to offensive rebound. You cannot daydream. You have got to stay with Hunter Sallis.
And they've wanted to see more aggressiveness from him. Steve Forbes said to us this morning, the next step in his process is becoming an alpha. He's done it so far in 22 minutes this afternoon. Looks around the corner. Tough follow-away. And Filipowski the follow. Crowd wanted basket interference. They don't get it.
You love how aggressive Roach is to start this half. He needs to be a player in this second half.
Spinning again on Mark Mitchell. Carving out space and scoring with the right hand. And Reed and Filipowski get tangled. Nothing more to see there.
Well, Steve Forbes and Andrew Carr, it's a partnership to start the half. You love partnerships.
Like me and you, man.
Like me and you, brother. They're going to force Mark Mitchell to have to do something, and then this has been a physical game so far, especially on the interior.
Roach around the corner. Finds Filipowski again. Goes back to work on Efton Reed. Filipowski, follow it and go. Mitchell cleans it up and draws the foul.
Every time Filipowski catches it on the block, something good happens. Now there he takes the shot, but he's, again, an outstanding passer. And everybody, he draws so much attention. That's why you want him to catch it there. And that's how Mitchell's able to sneak in there. People watching Filipowski dribble.
Mitchell just 3 points in the first half. Well, we mentioned another full day of college hoops right here on ESPN and the app. We highlight these 3 games. 2 top teams in the ACC right after us at 4 Eastern with Carolina against Virginia. Texas takes on number 9 Kansas, and at 8 Eastern in the SEC, number 5 Tennessee against Texas A&M.
It's another massive, massive bubble game for Texas A&M.
Topsy-turvy for them recently. Wake Forest, meanwhile, if you're just joining us, Joe Lunardi's first team out. He's got Duke as a 3 seed. They're tied atop the ACC with North Carolina at 12-3. Sallis is feeling it. Alpha indeed. 20 for Hunter Sallis.
Duke caught in rotation, and again, nobody on Hunter Sallis.
Roach comes up to get it. Off the bounce on Miller. Now Caleb Foster was big in the first half at 8 points. Hardly came off the floor. Shot clock winding down. Roach fires. Knocks it down. We said it. Jeremy Roach at 46% from 3 would be the best for a Duke player in the last 25 years.
He's having a heck of a year, and he's never rattled. There is no environment this dude has not seen in 4 years as a starter at Duke.
Carr has been busy these first 4 minutes out of halftime. Reed gets the roll. 2 phenomenal offenses. 2 of the best in the ACC. Top 2 shooting teams in the league. Looking like it here this afternoon. Mitchell off the bounce, met by Reed. Now Roach bullying in on Miller. Foster shut off on the baseline. He turned it over. Sallis pushes. And Hildreth moves it for Carr. Reed calling for it. Matched up with Filipowski. The Gonzaga transfer. Kicks it out for Sallis. Again!
Hunter Sallis is smoking hot, and Duke is complicit. I mean, look, there is no sense of urgency to defend Hunter Sallis to start this second half. Look how wide open a first-team All-ACC player is. Unacceptable.
On a huge stage, Hunter Sallis has been a dude. 23 points in 25 minutes. 5 of 6 from deep. And you said Duke is complicit in this.
It's game plan. I mean, look, he's a great player, so he's going to put up numbers. But like if we were in a pickup game, Mike, and you had 5 threes, well, that would never happen. Let's reverse that. And I had 5 threes, you would say, hey, man, you got to stay with the guy. Do not leave him. And Duke has been caught in rotation. There's nobody clearly designated to stay with Sallis. And so these shots have been open shots.
Ryan Young out of the timeout, had it roll off, but a late whistle and a foul goes against the Deacs. We go back to break. I would try to find a way to mute your microphone after that comment. Wake Forest had snatched momentum here, up by 5 against number 8 Duke, but now it's 3 fouls on Efton Reed, and he is the most foul-prone player in all the ACC, and fouled out in the first meeting against Duke.
And he's critical. He's been really good in this game. This was a late call. And given how physical this game has been, it is a touch foul relatively. He does probably get him on the right arm there. And the official seeing that. And officials are human. That ball doesn't go in the basket. That's why that call ends up being late. But it is a big-time call in this game.
Steve Forbes said to us this morning, it's the stupid ones, his word, not mine, that he's trying to eliminate with Efton Reed, his big man. He said he's just got to be smarter, and it was after the first meeting against Duke last week. He got on Efton Reed hard for the first time he said all year.
He saved the layup.
4 triples in this game. Still 13 to go. Roach back out Proctor. Couldn't hit this time. And Filipowski couldn't run it down.
You can't turn the ball over. Wake did a good job in the first half of not doing that. You're not going to be able to go behind your back in traffic. And this is where Duke excels. Turnover. They get into that driving kick. Nice job by Jeremy Roach, allowing Tyrese Proctor to set his feet. A good pitch back.
A guy in Proctor who John Shires told us he is as good as any shooter we've got. They've been waiting for these kinds of performances from him, stroking it. Carr faces up on Filipowski. And now backs him down. Carr gets fouled. 2 on Filipowski.
Yep. Duke was going to double and has doubled Efton Reed today. They were not going to double Andrew Carr. They're allowing him to go one-on-one, especially against Filipowski. And it's just an extended dribble, and it's like a sumo wrestling match between the two of them inside there.
Wedged within a basketball game.
Right.
Filipowski was fiery after that whistle as well. It's been a big focus for the Duke staff with him. Poise and competitiveness, the balance. Hey, Wednesday over on ACC Network. Duke fans will want to watch this. The Blue Devils square off against Louisville at 7 Eastern, and it's followed by the premiere of Coach K and Roy Williams' Rivals Reunited. 1-hour special with the coaching legends sitting down together with our guy Wes Durham. Wake by 1. Duke with the basketball. John Shires' team on a 5-game winning streak. Hottest team in the ACC. Proctor for Young. Now Roach accelerates. Hits in the mid-range.
I thought Cam Hildreth came too far over. You don't have to help on Ryan Young. Andrew Carr had him. And when you overhelp, that's what Jeremy Roach ends up driving the closeout.
Having a senior season reminiscent of Quinn Cooks in 2015. Sallis matched up with McCain, who didn't bite. And forced Sallis into a tough one. You said it, best perimeter defender for Duke. Now he pulls up. Hits! The freshman is special.
You're good and believing you're good. Thinking you're good is fraudulent. Believing you're good is backed up by the work you've put in. And I was talking to Will Stevens, who's been the strength and conditioning coach at Duke for over 20 years. He's seen so many great players come through Duke in that time. He said he's the hardest worker we've had in my time at Duke. Wow. I mean, he just is maniacal, Jared McCain, as a worker.
Sallis draws a foul. You said he's on balance physically with his shot. We talked about it in the first half.
He's on balance mentally as well in everything he does. 4th foul on Ryan Young, by the way, and he will exit. So Mark Mitchell comes back into the game.
It's a silly foul. It was a foul. You're 40 feet from the basket, and you know, you like the being aggressive with Sallis in that ball screen, having 2 guys with him, trapping it, trying to get it out of his hands, but you've got to be able to do that without fouling.
And Efton Reed into the game with 3. He left about 4 minutes ago, and Wake had its largest lead of this game at 5. Now down by 4, and he's back in for Steve Forbes. Hildreth goes driving on McCain and off the glass. We told you he's playing with a wrist injury. We asked him the other day, how's the wrist? He said to us, still broke, but he's playing through it even though he should be having surgery.
And he's been quiet in this game, but that's his game. Driving to the basket, nice little touch off the glass.
Proctor is matched up with Fredrickson. Proctor can't hit. Sallis clears it. The Wake team 4th in the ACC. You see the 9-6 league record. Down by 2. Good pass. Reed to Carr. Tied at 58.
Now Sallis, the playmaker. Out of that high screen, good roll to the rim by Reed, and then an extra pass by him, big to big.
There's McCain creating some space. And with the left hand on Sallis.
He is their emotional leader. You know, and for a freshman, that's impressive. He is their emotional leader.
Says, I've gotten really good at being present. He calls that his greatest accomplishment. Carr underneath. The stop. Back and forth we go. th different tie we've had this afternoon. Roach out the screen from Mitchell. On the roll. Mitchell follows. A half dozen for Mark Mitchell, one of the best offensive rebounders in the ACC. Carr. And they had 2 points in that first half. Battling again with Filipowski. And back down to Sallis. 5 to shoot. Working on Proctor. Sallis. Pass. How good has he been?
And he loved that matchup. There's no way Tyrese Proctor has no shot. Nice use of the body to create the space.
25 for Sallis. Number 4 scorer in the league. Proctor pick and roll. Filipowski for Mitchell. Short.
Need a shooter in that corner because Duke has gotten really good at hitting Filipowski in the pocket, and then he's a really good passer. That corner's wide open, and it will be open even if it wasn't Mitchell there.
He does have 9 threes in this game. This crowd is charged, ready to erupt. Carr going to work. Backing down Mitchell. McCain digging. Back out Hildreth. Off the shot fake. Hildreth gets back.
A little two-man game with Hildreth and Andrew Carr again. Extended dribble on the block. And Jared McCain is stunting. You know, the thing with a stunt, watch McCain, he's coming out, he's faking. It allows you to be in 2 places at one time. The problem is on a closeout, he leaves his feet. Nice shot fake. And that's what he wants. You got to keep your feet. Hildreth does not want 3. He wants the paint.
You said it in the first half. It should be a short closeout on Cam Hildreth. 3rd foul, by the way, on Filipowski.
He and Boopy Miller are so good when they get into that paint, Mike, at shot faking. You know, Miller, with his slight size, he's had to do it his whole life. And Hildreth, being an international player, he's so fundamentally sound.
A guy who has improved his shot so much as to see Efton Reed sit for Wake. But the risk bothering the 3-point shot for Cam Hildreth. He splits at the free throw line. So it's Wake by 1. Outside of 8 to go in this second half.
Some key misses at the foul line for Wake,
which is a top 3 free throw shooting team in the country this season. Filipowski fouled by Marsh. Back and forth we go. And no star has shined brighter than Hunter Sallis today.
You said it, Mike. 10 of 12 from the field. Up against the sophomore. Too light. Nudge, nudge. Over the top. He's wet. Hunter Sallis, what a day.
Not still a loaded day of college basketball here on ESPN in the app. And how about the next 3? 4 Eastern, number 10, North Carolina against Virginia. Then it's Texas and number 9, Kansas. And at 8 Eastern in the SEC, number 5, Tennessee against A&M in a pivotal game for the Aggies. Wake Forest has only been to the NCAA tournament 1 time the last 13 years. That was back in 2017. Year 4 for Steve Forbes. Joe Lunardi right now says first team out. Duke, number 8 in the country, tied for first in the ACC, with Kyle Filipowski at the line. Second half in which Wake is 11 of 13 from the floor. And for the game, shooting 63% on its field goals.
Well, a big part of that is 23 of Wake's 38 shots have come from Hunter Sallis and Andrew Carr. Sallis has been left a little bit in this second half, but he's efficient to begin with, has been all year, and Carr has been allowed to go one-on-one on the block and has been hyper-efficient.
Kyle Filipowski makes both free throws, so it's Duke back in front by 1. And he and Tyrese Proctor leading the Blue Devils with 14 apiece. Sallis off a screen, knifes to the mid-range, scores again. It's 11 of 13 for Hunter Sallis.
Again, Duke switches a lot, but I think you've got to have Jared McCain on Hunter Sallis. I mean, Hunter Sallis' eyes are lighting up when he gets Proctor on him.
He's 6 up, matching a career high. Proctor. Back to Filipowski. Left it short. Loose ball, Hildreth. Awake running. Hildreth with a one-track mind. Got it back. In between 3 Blue Devils. It's out of bounds. And stays at this end of the floor.
This was an unbelievable play by Jeremy Roach. This is a winning play. He gets back, and making that play without fouling is really tough. It saved the basket.
They flip things around and say the basketball belongs to Duke. Kind of senior play you expect from Jeremy Roach.
No question. Not giving up on a play. Understanding that everyone in a game like this matters.
The Duke team that has been ascending the last few weeks. They've won 8 out of 9 and 16 of 18. Here's Roach again in a spot he loves. Gets it to go. 11 for Jeremy Roach.
He's never rattled.
A game that, from a sheer entertainment perspective as well, has filled it up. Back and forth. Boopy Miller chokes the foul.
And Jeremy Roach is so good in the half court, moving without the basketball. He uses that screen. They said a double stagger. Nice job coming off of it with pace. One dribble right into his shot.
I mean, you can forget, you shouldn't, but you can, that he's got some of the biggest shots in Duke history, especially recently.
You go to that run to the Final Four, Mike. I mean, hit a massive shot against Michigan State in the second round, hit a big-time shot against Texas Tech. He's got some of the biggest shots in recent Duke history, like you said. He's been hyper-efficient this year. He's been the senior leader that John Shire has needed. A 4-year starter at Duke since Kyle Singler. I mean, he's had a prolific career at Duke.
And if you're just joining us, in the first half, he and Mark Mitchell dealt with foul trouble. Duke withstood it, led by 2 at intermission, and it's Wake by 1 with 6.5 to go in a game with which the entirety has been played within 2 possessions. Roach down the lane, and the foul!
These 2 offenses have shown out today. I mean, 2 of the best in the league, 2 of the best nationally have shown out. He's been able to turn a corner. Again, they're running him off of that far corner, and he's been able to come off, catch, turn a corner, and then he just a little hang in the air, Mike Monaco. Something you probably don't know much about.
Very little. However, he is a good hang. Gets it done down the lane, and also in the process, through the 3rd foul on Andrew Carr. Stamps a 3-point play, and Roach joins Proctor and Filipowski with 14 each. We have our 13th lead change. Duke by 2. So Reed and Carr with 3 fouls apiece for Steve Forbes. Sallis got a switch from Roach, so now Proctor on Miller. Young just fouled out of the ballgame. With 6:05 to go, Ryan Young outside of the arc. Fouls out.
Well, he's out there to go hard. He's not out there to manage his fouls. And it's been the last 2, he puts 2 hands on a ball handler. You can prevent that. But Miller had the angle in the corner. But his last 2 fouls for Ryan Young have come off of ball screen coverage.
So the backup big, a veteran in his 6th year of college basketball, is done with 6:05 to go. That's what you said Wake will do to you offensively, especially with Boopie Miller and Cam Hildreth. They're looking to drive you.
They are.
We talked about Jeremy Roach as well and how he has stepped up after dealing with foul trouble in that first half. 12 of his 14 since the break. Hildreth, Miller, Carr, Sallis, and Reed. The Wake starters are on the floor. Little handoff, wasn't there for Sallis, who's being dogged by Roach. Miller kicks, Carr hoists, hits! Wake leads! .16 for Andrew Carr. Roach down the lane, got caught in the air, turns it over. Only the 6th turnover from Duke. Biggest game in this building in a long time. Sallis comes up to get it. Cut off by Filipowski, who commits a foul. And that is 4 on Duke's superstar with still 5:19 to go.
Here's this last bucket. You know, they're denying Sallis. And so Miller comes off the secondary actions, able to turn the corner. But there's the denial, the sense of urgency you have to have. And then Wake's spacing is so good. They space those deep corners, and that's the versatility of Andrew Carr.
He's got 14 of his 16 since halftime. Shot clock below 10 for Boopie Miller. On the baseline, had it stripped on the way up. Got it back and missed it. And Mark Mitchell the rebound. Filipowski might have taken a shot to the face there. He is bleeding and reaching up near his lip and nose. So 4:55 to go in this second half. Separated by 1 point. Wake in front. Let's have a look at where Filipowski got hit here. Into the left arm, perhaps, of Boopie Miller. Looks to be all right. And mop up the floor a bit. And Filipowski stays in. Roach, McCain, Proctor, Mitchell, Filipowski for John Shire's team. Filipowski on the perimeter. Roach, backdoor, a turnover. Couple costly Duke giveaways the last few possessions.
It was a set play. They were setting up that backdoor. Sometimes you premeditate the play you're going to make. It was not open. And good defensive play by Cam Hildreth.
And how about this look defensively for Duke? Showing a zone. Carr flashes to the logo. Hildreth. Connects! Shire went zone. He's only done that on 22 possessions all year. 1% of the time. And Cam Hildreth made Duke pay. McCain flashes. Hits. How big is this guy? Unfazed by the moment.
Flare screen out of the timeout, drawn up by John Shire, drawing up a play, a massive possession for his freshman. And McCain delivers.
An ACC Freshman of the Year candidate. Connecting on 40% from 3. It's a skip for Hildreth. Off the ball fake. Hildreth attacks and draws a foul. If you're just joining us, We got 3.5 to go. It's a 1-point game, and neither team has led by more than 6. If that holds, it would be the first ACC league game this year in which neither team ever led by more than 6 points at any point.
I think one of the reasons Shire went to zone on that one possession is the penetration from Miller and Hildreth has started to hurt Duke a little bit. So you show zone, and of course Hildreth, who was 1 of 11 from 3 in their last 8 games coming in, hits only his second 3 in that time.
Yeah, hugely affected again by a wrist he told us is broken. So he has found other ways. And maybe a product too of Duke sending so much attention now at Hunter Sallis these last few trips. They said he considered surgery, still dealing with a ton of pain, but didn't want to bail on this season. Makes it a 3-point Wake Forest lead. There's the 3rd foul, by the way, on Jeremy Roach. Crowd to its feet at the Joel and Winston-Salem. Roach, dogged by Hildreth. A canal on Proctor. 12 to shoot, and Duke outside the arc still. McCain comes to get it from Filipowski. McCain back for Filipowski for 3. No! Rebound Miller.
Outstanding defensive possession from Wake Forest.
A game that has been played in the half court. Two teams so good in transition. It has been focused on these 47 feet on both ends. Carr trying to get free from Mitchell. He's had a monster second half. Reed, a handoff for Hildreth down the lane. Lost it on the way up, but it will stay with Wake Forest, and Duke disagrees. 2:40 to go in the second half.
That was close. That live, that looked like it was off Hildreth to me.
Hard to tell from that angle. I thought so too in real time. Miller into Carr. Gets the roll. 18 for Carr. McCain spins away. Gets to the mid-range. Thought about a 3. Now Roach off the bounce. Down the lane and gets fouled. 2 coming for Jeremy Roach. And a good bounce-back possession with Duke down by 5.
It's amazing. These close games, these high-leverage games, free throws are big and under out of bounds. What execution on that play right there to be able to finish off of the catch in the air by Carr. And then that was a big possession for Duke. They needed to come away with points there. You love the drive. You're in the bonus. Put your head down, get it to the paint, and get yourself to the foul line at the very least.
Where Jeremy Roach is good on 86%. And a good possession because he got the 4th foul on Wake Forest big man Efton Reed, who again, just joining us, the first meeting between these teams last week, a Duke win at Cameron. He fouled out in only 15 minutes. Into a sea of tie-dye, Roach makes both. Wake Forest connecting on 62% from the floor. You got to go back to the mid-90s to find a field goal percentage for them as high as that against a top 25 opponent. They're up by 3, outside of 2 to go on their home floor as the first team out of Joe Lunardi's projected field. Hildreth comes up to get it. 10 to shoot, defended by Roach. Off the crossover, Hildreth attacks. And a blocking foul is called on Tyrese Proctor. Late shot clock again. And a foul against Duke.
We said at the top, guarding the basketball, sitting down in the stance, and guarding Boopy Miller and Cam Hildreth was a big part of this game. Yeah, that's a block. Good call. And a really good drive from Cam Hildreth. How big has he been over the last 5 minutes, Mike?
Stepped up after he'd been so quiet. John Shire was having a conversation with A.J. Desai, who now convenes with Rod Grover. With 1:54 to go in this second half. And Wake Forest ahead by 3.
Hey, if we
explanation from A.J. Desai to John Shire that, well, if we're reading body language, you major in that. He doesn't appear to love.
Look, he's probably asking about that call. I mean, the fact of the matter is, these are being called blocks now with the way the new rule is written. It's hard to tell whether Proctor was on that restricted arc, but either way, I don't think he's there before that plant foot is down. So I'm fine with that call.
Ron Groover just came over to share. The play on the floor, he's calling a basketball block. He said it has nothing to do with the restricted arc there.
Well, there you go.
We settled it.
I'm glad he came over to explain it.
We found harmony. With 1:54 to go at the Joel. And Hildreth, a very good free throw shooter at 80%, is good on the first, stretches the Wake lead to 4. Tense moments on the Duke side. Winners of 5 in a row. Hildreth makes both. 5-point cushion. Roach navigating the pick and roll. Got a switch from Carr. Kicks it out. And out Proctor. Shut off by Miller. Here's McCain. Driving on Sallis. Got fouled and left it a little bit short.
Again, you love driving it. Put your head down. Drive that ball. It's a good call. Certainly a block. And these become big. And again, there's plenty of time if you're Duke. I like picking up a little bit. That 2-2-1 they showed. Leave Wake a little less time in the half court.
As McCain sinks the first, 84%. And Steve Ford's team protecting a 4-point lead. Buck 37 to go in regulation. McCain hits both. Back to a 1-possession game. Duke extends after the makes. Hildreth uses the read screen and now in the hands of the point guard, Boopy Miller. Reed comes to set the high ball screen. Miller down the lane, and we get a foul called on the floor. Give it to Mark Mitchell. It's his third.
Nice job using 20 seconds of the shot clock. And again, Miller and Hildreth downhill. Just a high ball screen. Miller able to turn the corner with that burst of his. And back to the foul line. This game, these high leverage games, 1 possession, 2 possession, they come down to the foul line.
I mentioned baseline out of bounds, side out of bounds. And Wake, traditionally in those specialty areas, one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country.
Hildreth picked it from Roach. Miller off to the races. Lays it in. 5-point Wake lead. Minute to go. Roach got stripped. And it's Wake basketball.
A strip on a couple of possessions. Tipped out by McCain. It does stay with the Demon Deacons.
Cam Hildreth is a bulldog. Good job just sticking his face in there on that crossover. Uncharacteristic from Jeremy Roach. 2 mistakes from him. Turning the ball over to Wake. That one leading to points.
59 seconds to go. Wake into the front court. Reed couldn't haul it in from Sallis, and that's costly. Still plenty of time for Duke down by 5.
You don't need it.
Proctor for Filipowski for 3.
Man.
2-point game.
Time and score. Time and score. You've got Duke on the ropes. It's going to come down to you making free throws. You do not need to throw a lob here. 2-on-1 or not. Just a bad game management decision.
John Shire uses his final timeout, and Steve Forbes left shaking his head.
Just a bad decision. You're trying to play up to the drama of the moment. Just pull it back out. Keep the pressure on Duke. And then how about Filipowski? His first of the night. 1 of 6 from 3.
Let's get you to the studio for a quick update with Kevin Connors. Throughout ESPN. The scene here, if you're just joining us, Wake Forest by 2. Joe Lunardi's got him as the first team out of his field for a program
that hasn't been to the NCAA tournament in 7 years, against the number 8 team in the country. Dealt with foul trouble in the first half. They've steadied that in the second half, but still trail against the Deacs.
And the benefit of how quickly Duke was able to get that 3 from Filipowski, you do not have to foul. You could play this out, set your defense, and play for a stop to keep this a one-possession game.
He's Chris Spatola. I'm Mike Monaco. Our entire crew behind the scenes. Steve Forbes in his 4th year here in Winston-Salem. Biggest game and biggest atmosphere in those 4 seasons. Can they get to the finish line? Kyle Filipowski, by the way, with that 3 in 2 seasons of college basketball, just reached 1,000 points. He's got 17 to go along with 8 rebounds and 5 assists. So, 42 seconds to go. 19 fouls for Duke. Wake, the 3rd best free throw shooting team in the country.
Into Sallis, the star for Wake Forest, with 27 points on 11 of 13 shooting. You said it, Duke doesn't need to foul, with 12 seconds separating game and shot clock. Here's Cam Hildreth. Off to Sallis. Into Carr. Matched up with Mark Mitchell. Carr with the shot clock winding down. Spinning on the baseline. Pivoting. Carr against Mitchell. Short. And Mitchell the rebound. With 10 seconds to go. Duke out of timeouts, down by 2. Proctor. Turnover. It belongs to Wake.
Just not having poise in that moment. You know, not having poise. 3 costly turnovers in the last minute of this game for Duke.
Sallis gets fouled with 1.8 to go.
I mean, it's a 2-point game, Mike. If you're Tyrese Proctor, that thing's
Got to go to the basket. Again, you're in the bonus. You're down 2. Why you're trying to give Kyle Filipowski the ball there, I don't quite understand, especially after what a great stand on the other end by Mark Mitchell on Andrew Carr. It was like protecting the Alamo down there, one-on-one. You got the stop you needed, and then you just cough it up. 3 costly turnovers down the stretch here for Duke.
Sallis, good on the first. How about this stage and moment for Steve Forbes in his 4th season? He was the only Power 5 coaching change 3 years ago during COVID. Step by step, he has been trying to build this. And Sallis makes it a 4-point game. We'll step aside for 30 seconds, then right back to the Joel in Winston-Salem. Not a lot of recent NCAA tournament history for Wake Forest. Haven't been to the tournament since 2017. Haven't won a game since 2010. To win a couple, get to the Sweet 16, well, not since Chris Paul and our buddy Randolph Childress, along with Tim Duncan, the last to get to the Elite 8, and all the way back to the early 60s to reach the Final Four. And Steve Forbes, with the team right now on the bubble, according to Joe Lunardi, trying to get to the finish line here.
This has been vintage Wake Forest today. This crowd showed out. This team was worthy of that. Their team has played so well today. And for Duke, win or lose, you're better for being in this game, in this environment.
A scene that had students sleeping on sidewalks, we were told. Sellout crowd for the first time in 7 years, and an attendance record at Wake. 1.8 to go, Duke down by 4. On the inbounds, it's picked, and the party is on in Winston-Salem. Filipowski is being helped off by members of the Duke staff, and you saw the immediate bear hug surrounding him as this court storming is in full effect with Filipowski hobbled. Wow.